Okay then guys, what is going on? Cloudplays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we are inside the first Descendant, and with the closed beta coming up very shortly, with only a matter of around 4 weeks remaining before we manage to get our hands on what could potentially be one of the best looter shooters to be released over the last 5 years. This is going to be a very interesting time. So with that being said, we're going to talk about a load of topics with regards to the game that you guys may not have known yet before you jump into the beta. With this being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. That being said, let's jump into it. So starting off, the beta is going to be launching towards the end of October, with it being around the 20th to the 26th and available on the Steam platform only. Don't panic though, if you guys aren't able to get into the beta itself when it does release in 2023, you guys on console are also going to be well covered. This game is going to be across all platforms and you guys are going to be able to enjoy the game for all of its glory. Although we don't know exactly how the gameplay is going to be yet, we do have some details with regards to how the game plays and the main process for the game. So that takes us on to the first movement, the weapon slot motive. The way this game is going to work is a lot like the Destiny 2 era, and the way that the slots work is a lot similar. We don't know whether the weapons are going to be aligned exactly the same way, with the heavy weapons being in the third slot, having different things such as rocket launchers, grenade launchers, swords and or otherwise, and having the main primary movements in the first slot and the secondary slot, including things such as assault rifles, SMGs, hand cannons and all of those sorts of things. But we do know that the build diversity is going to be absolutely insane with the amount of communication that you can kind of give towards your character to utilize different weapons. This leads to a very questionable movement as to whether this is going to be done correctly or if they follow the Destiny motive behind this and it's going to work bloody well for this style of game. With that being said, we don't also know whether these guns, weapons and all sorts of things that you guys are going to be able to utilize are going to be class specific. This is going to be quite awkward because obviously until we get access to the beta itself, we don't know any of this information. Next up, we're going to talk about the story. Now the story is quite hazed, but we do have a small description about this where it states that the player becomes a descendant in the game and is given a mission to fight against the invaders of the survival of the human race and to protect the Ingress continent. The player can experience a spectacular story by growing stronger through various missions and stories to finally discover the Descendant's secret. So as an overall, although that is quite vague and we don't know much about the story itself, it does state that we are going to be going against invaders to protect the human race as an overall, and as being a descendant, there is a secret that we are yet to find out with regards to that. If this is going to have multiple different endings depending on the classes, again we'll yet to find out, but although I would say it would be quite a static maneuver, with there being over 10 characters that you guys can utilize at launch. Inside of those 10 characters, there are 4 different character class types, including the versatile assault rifle user, which is going to be more of the overall balanced class that you guys will be able to utilize. The support debuffers, which is going to be things like the main freeze, which is Vaser, and you are going to be able to freeze things to cause a debuff as to whether you or a fellow player will be able to cause the high amount of damage. That is again the next class, which is going to be the fast, nimble, high damage movement, which will probably contain a lot of melee activeness. And on top of that, we've then got the tank class, and the tank class is going to have the main sort of shield maneuvered high heavy impact weapons that you guys will all know and love. Now there is no mention on abilities that have been tied to character types or the traditional movement of being able to utilize those main abilities and transfer them between the character assaults. We're going to wait and see whether it's something that is going to be class specific and tied to a character, or if this is going to be something we can take off of one character and move to another depending on the versatility of the character movement. This is although the main support movement for it, and the 4 class character types that you guys will be used to are pretty much the same as the traditional MMO style characters that you will be used to throughout a lot of other games. Now with that being said, this does look very good, and the trailers and gameplay that we have seen right now is extremely interesting. There is a lot of movement inside of these trailers that have yet to give us a load of questions to be answered. The CGI explores a lot of transversal aspects, including grappling and hopping around, climbing walls and such like that, and kind of gives you a bit of a Genshin feel when it comes to being able to make that transversal movement, flying through the air and being able to grapple and move is something which is quite interesting. Now, I am hoping these sorts of things are going to be utilised inside of the combat, as it will give a very big difference compared to things like Destiny or The Division when it comes to that style of gameplay. Although that is also making the game 10 times harder to be able to produce, I do feel like if they can pull that off, this is going to be one to take over the books for sure. Although the movement is through CGI and is mainly in the trailer process and not in the gameplay, we are yet to see whether this is just something to make the game look good or if it's actually going to be there. Now, although this game does look absolutely amazing, I have yet to play it because obviously the closed beta access has been restricted to the 20th to the 26th, and they haven't really communicated with many YouTubers and or other people to be able to test inside of the game, so we've got no information in that regard. As of right now, we're just a guessing game, and I can't really recommend whether you want to jump into this or not until we've managed to get our hands-on time with it. So make sure you guys tune in towards the end of October to get my full process on whether this is going to be worth your time or not. If you haven't already, make sure you're smashing the beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. With that being said, thank you very much again for watching. Appreciate your faces, and as always, I'll see you in the clouds.